Here is the carefully revised and well-structured English translation, with grammatical corrections applied while preserving the original meaning and without adding new information. The recent developments involving the United States, Israel, and Iran have reignited one of the most sensitive geopolitical tensions of the contemporary era, the balance of power in the Middle East and the Iranian nuclear issue. According to American and Israeli authorities, the strikes carried out against strategic targets in Iran were preventive in nature, aimed at neutralizing alleged threats related to the development of nuclear technology and the advancement of ballistic missile capabilities. On the other hand, the Iranian government and its allies reject these accusations, asserting that the country does not possess nuclear warheads and that its nuclear program is intended for civilian purposes. Russia and other nations have condemned the military actions, arguing that they violate principles of international law and undermine multilateral agreements focused on nuclear nonproliferation. Israel maintains that the possibility of Iran developing nuclear weapons represents a direct threat to its national security and to regional stability. However, international estimates indicate that Israel possesses an arsenal of approximately 80 to 90 nuclear warheads, although it does not officially confirm this information, while the United States holds the largest nuclear stockpile in the world, with thousands of warheads. Iran, in turn, is a signatory to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, and denies possessing nuclear arms. The situation becomes even more complex in light of reports that part of the U.S. Congress was not previously informed about certain military actions authorized by the president, which has sparked internal debates within the United States regarding legality, constitutional limits, and transparency in strategic decision-making. Prior to the recent escalation, negotiations were underway between Washington and Tehran concerning potential limitations on Iran's nuclear program. However, following the strikes described by Israel as preventive, the Iranian government responded with offensives against U.S. military bases in the region, significantly increasing the risk of a broader and more direct escalation. If the conflict advances further, there is the possibility of involvement by regional actors allied with Iran in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, which could transform the crisis into a larger-scale war in the Middle East. Beyond the military and diplomatic consequences, the global economic impacts could be substantial. The region holds some of the world's largest oil reserves, and any threat to the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic route through which a significant portion of the world's seaborne oil passes, could trigger an immediate surge in international oil and gas prices. Such an increase would directly affect transportation costs, industrial production, and energy generation, placing upward pressure on global inflation and raising the cost of food, fuel, and consumer goods. Financial markets also tend to react with strong volatility during conflicts of this magnitude. Investors typically shift their capital towards safe haven assets such as gold and the US dollar, while stock markets often experience declines, particularly in countries that depend heavily on energy imports. Emerging economies may face currency depreciation and rising external debt burdens, while countries already weakened by previous crises could enter recession if energy prices remain elevated for a prolonged period. Furthermore, maritime trade routes could be disrupted, affecting global supply chains and delaying the delivery of essential goods, thereby amplifying the broader impact on the world economy. Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council faces difficulties in taking decisive action, as permanent members have direct or indirect interests in the region. The lack of international consensus reduces the effectiveness of potential sanctions or diplomatic mediation efforts. In this context, the continuation of strikes and counterstrikes may harden Iran's position regarding its nuclear program, decreasing the likelihood of renewed negotiations and increasing the risk of further escalation. Therefore, the conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran represents not only a regional dispute but also a development with the potential to reshape the global political, energy, and economic balance, directly and indirectly affecting countries across all continents.